Good evening, sir. Thanks for giving me opportunity to be a part of this initiative. So, today we will be speaking on a role of ECRT, that is extracorporeal radiotherapy in orthopedic oncology. And this work has been performed at Gujarat Cancer Research Institute. So, greetings from our institute. It's a 750 bedded cancer hospital and one of the biggest oncology center in India. So there are two treatment options in management of malignant bone tumors. One is limb salvage surgery. So the upper picture is of limb salvage surgery, that is a megaprosthesis done, and lower is amputation. So that is a modified amputation, rotation plasty. So we have always two treatment options. One is limb salvage and amputation, and in majority of cases nowadays limb salvage surgery is performed across the globe for malignant bone tumors. So it's like Virat Kohli having his multiple treatment options. What are the reconstruction options that can be used in orthopedic oncology? So here we can see it's a tumor involving humerus, and we have treatment options of using a megaprosthesis, that is a non-biologic method. So megaprosthesis is a joint in which we replace the epiphysis, metaphysis, and part of diaphysis. So any tumor involving a joint, you can reconstruct it with a megaprosthesis. That is a non-biological reconstruction option. Next is again a non-biologic reconstruction option, a cost-effective method that is commonly used. That is use of an implant cement spacer. That is use a nail. Here it's a K nail. So Kuncher's nail is used. So it's a nail cement spacer. And on the right side, we can appreciate it's a plate cement spacer. So again, treatment option for any tumor involving the joint or diaphyseal region. Next, we have biological reconstruction options. So here it was a pediatric case, tumor involving the humerus, and reconstruction was performed with fibula. So here it was a vascularized fibula. Every procedure has its own merits, complications, advantages, and disadvantages. And here in this case, we can appreciate there was a fracture seen at the junctional area, and it was supplemented with a plate. So next is the treatment options, what we will be discussing today. That is ECRT, means extracorporeal radiotherapy. So tumor involving proximal humerus, it was treated with ECRT, means extracorporeal radiotherapy. And again, it was put back. So it is an autologous type of reconstruction using patient's own bone. So reconstruction methods for any diaphyseal region, we have two treatment options. One is biologic and second is non-biologic method. So in biologic method, we have allograft, so the bone which can be used from a bone bank, or a fibula which can be vascularized or non-vascularized, that is autograft. We can use combinations, so autograft prosthetic composite, allograft prosthetic composite, or combinations can be made. And today's discussion topic is ECRT, that is extracorporeal radiotherapy, and what are alternatives to it? That is liquid nitrogen, cryosurgery. Autoclaving means just autoclave the bone, or pasteurization, what the milk is done for the milk. So here we will be discussing ECRT, that is extracorporeal radiotherapy. A non-biologic option, we can use either a prosthesis or an implant cement spacer, what we have discussed. So what are the indications or where this should be used? So ECRT, we will be discussing today. Liquid nitrogen, we will be seeing a case. Autoclaving, we are not discussing today, and pasteurization is again a alternative treatment option. So what is ECRT? ECRT is extracorporeal radiotherapy, or second name for it is extracorporeal irradiation, ECI or ECRT. That is the short form used, and it was first reported by Spira in 1968. And this is the paper in which he had reported his paper on ECRT. So next, what is the indications of this? So either it can be used for reconstruction of defect after removal of tumor in the diaphyseal region. So it can be a diaphyseal region of humerus, tibia, or femur, or it can be used for osteoarticular reconstruction. Like if we are resecting the scapula, we can replace it back doing ECRT, or radius, that is proximal radius or distal radius, or proximal tibia or distal femur. It is also describing pelvic bone tumors also. So here we will be discussing both reconstruction options. It is first usually commonly used for reconstruction of diaphyseal defect. So it's a tumor involving femur, humerus, tibia, so diaphyseal regions, or it can be used for reconstruction of a joint, that is osteoarticular reconstruction. So we'll give you go by a few cases here. So this is the example: 11 years boy presented with pain and swelling around the thigh. And if you want to read this X-ray and what are the approach that should be used for treating this patient, so that is very important. So this is an algorithmic approach which we published in our paper, and that is first take the clinical history, ask the patient the duration of symptoms, then elicit few important signs, the size of the swelling, how the swelling looks, the skin over the swelling, then get few basic blood investigation, that is CBC, ESR, CRP to rule out infection, then calcium alkaline phosphate, creatinine, bilirubins, and proteins, and get a radiograph done. So important is here, the radiograph should be a full length radiograph. And we can evaluate any X-ray with all these important points that we coined a term, that is A to Z RAM, that is A to Z radiograph assessment method. And if the features are suggestive of benign tumor, it will be very well defined, narrow zone of transition, no content, a chondroid matrix. If it is a malignant lesion, it is having a cortical reach, ill-defined lesion, wide zone of transition. So what is meaning of this? So this was the paper which we published this year in January in Radiography Journal. That is a to Z RAM or radiograph assessment method. So here it is a easy method, and the importance of this is you don't miss any important point. So while reading a X-ray, if a point is missed, that will lead to disaster and the diagnosis is missed by the orthopedic surgeon. So A is for age of the patient, skeletally mature, immature. B is for the bone, which bone, long bone or flat bone, which part of the bone, epiphysis, metaphysis, diaphysis, whether it's sclerotic, osteolytic, or mixed lesion, chondroblastic or osteoblastic content, well-defined or ill-defined, periosteal reaction present or absent, pathological fracture, and zone of transition. So again, going to the same X-ray, it's a skeletally immature person, so we can appreciate it, the physis is open here. It's bone, which bone is involved? It's a long bone. Femur is involved. Which part of femur? Metaphysis and diaphysis is involved. It's ill-defined, periosteal reaction is present, pathological fracture is absent, and wide zone of transition. So if you want to summarize all these points as an orthopedic surgeon, if it's for a resident who is viewing this lecture, so we can summarize this all points as radiograph of skeletally immature individual, lesion involving diaphysis, metaphysis, ill-defined borders, wide zone of transition, periosteal reaction, soft tissue mass with no pathological fracture. So to summarize an exam, it's most probably a malignant bone lesion and most probably a osteosarcoma. So after X-ray, get an MRI done and biopsy should be performed. And these patients are treated with neoadjuvant chemotherapy, means chemotherapy given before surgery. So here we can see there is upper mark in blue and there is again a lower mark in blue. So that will be the resection length, that is 16 centimeters. And the proximal osteotomy is just below the lesser trochanter. And distal osteotomy, which will be cutting the bone, is just above the physeal area. So here we can see the patient clinically and appreciate the biopsy scar. So importance is the biopsy scar should be always resected because chances of contamination are always there, and lateral skin incision is given here. This is how the proximal and distal osteotomies are performed, and the neurovascular bundle is dissected away from the tumor. And this is a small video. First, we put an intercrack screw, which is away from the tumor area, so that the osteotomy, oblique osteotomy was performed. So here we tried multiple osteotomy methods. So one is oblique, second is transverse, third is zigzag. So every method has its advantages, disadvantages. And a plate was fixed before the resection, so that we know the idea how the plate will be fixed. So here we can appreciate here, it's a plate which is customized, having few solid components, which will prevent breakage of the plate. And the tumor was resected. And this is a small video how the tumor is resected. And this is the neurovascular bundle. This is the tumor which is resected. And we can see here the pulsation after resection of the tumor. So the proximal part and the distal part. We can see the oblique osteotomy in this case. So next important method is we have to send this specimen to radiotherapy department in sterile environment. And the resected specimen, we are using multiple methods. to remove the soft tissue, and all these procedures are performed on another operation table. So it's not on the same trolley. So it's a different trolley. So it prevents the contamination of the tumor into the involved areas. So use a different trolley for removing the soft tissue and preparing the bone. So these are the things which are used. A periosteum elevator, scoop, knife is used to remove the soft tissue. So this is how the soft tissue is removed with the help of the knife and periosteum elevator. So remove all the soft tissue so that the bone is made bare from the soft tissue. So this is how the bone looks after removal of soft tissue. And this soft tissue is sent to the pathology department to know the percentage of necrosis. So limitation of ECRT is you don't get the margins, bony margins. You can send the frozen section from upper part and lower part, but you don't get exact margins in ECRT cases. So next is give a wash with the help of pulse lavage. This removes all the soft tissue from the bone. This is how pulse lavage is used. Remove all the soft tissue from the bone. Then next, add vancomycin solution so that it decreases chances of infection. And we have to send this bone in sterile environment. So your hospital or your center should have radiation department, or if it's a nearby department, you can send there this bone. So this is how the bone is packed in vancomycin soap mops. So this is first step. Use vancomycin solution, pack it in mops, wet soap mopped in vancomycin. And this is how multiple layers are got done. So use a plastic drape, use sterile drapes, and this bone will be sent to radiotherapy department. This is how it is packed, and this can be handled by the person in radiotherapy department. And the dose is important to remember is 50 grays radiation is given, and the duration of radiation is 30 minutes. So this is important. 50 grays radiation for 30 minutes duration. So this is very high dose of radiation. Normally, any soft tissue cases or Ewing sarcoma cases, what we give radiation to a patient that is 1 gray, 2 gray, or 3 grays. But here it's very high dose and single dose is given 50 grays. So it will kill all the tumor cells. Then the bone is brought back again in sterile condition. And this is how the fixation is done. So first we do the distal fixation, put 2 wires and place interfract screws from the bone. Next is this is the plate which we prepared, customized plate. An advantage is it is having solid components. It will decrease the chances of breakage because this bone takes around 6 to 9 months to unite. So we published a paper in Journal of Orthopedic Surgery Asia Pacific, and the outcomes were the metaphyseal part unites in 6 to 9 months time. The diaphyseal takes around 9 to 12 months time. So until that, you should keep the bone protected. So that's why the advantage of customized plate, and we use in majority of cases this customized plate. And this is how the plate fixation is done. So again, use the anterior plate, that is a derotation plate, and the lateral plate is used here. And this is the final radiograph of the patient at follow-up. Here we can see there are 2 oblique screws placed distally involving the metaphyseal or diaphyseal area, and proximally interfract screw was placed. Screw was placed into the neck to the head, an anterior derotation plate that will prevent the rotation of this bone. So all this union takes around 6 to 9 months time, and the bone should be protected for that much duration. So this is the first indication use of ECRT in diaphyseal location. So that is the most common indication used for ECRT. So what are the advantages of ECRT? Here we can see the femur bone was involved, and you are putting the patient's own bone. So you don't require an allograft, you don't require a bone bank. So in India or across the globe, very few centers are there, or few countries are having bone bank facilities. And the cost of allograft is too high. So that is the second disadvantage. And chances of infection are very high with the allograft bone. Here also ECRT, there are chances of infection, but bit less as compared to allograft. And this is size match. So it's perfect size match. So we can see here the bone was cut, removed, do ECRT and put it back again. So it's perfectly matching the host bone. With allograft, this will not be possible. So it's precise anatomical fit of the reimplanted bone. preservation of the joint. So here the knee joint is preserved, the hip joint is preserved for the patient. Next is you can reattach the tendons. So if it was involving the proximal part, you can attach the extensor apparatus. There is no issue of graft rejection and viral transmission as you are using the patient's own bone. Next advantage is avoiding the complications of prosthesis. So if here we are using the prosthesis, it can be a diaphyseal prosthesis. So chances of wear, tear, again, cost is involved in getting these prostheses. And though no issue of getting the bone from bone bank. So that is avoided. In pediatric patients, so all these are pediatric patients, most common osteosarcoma and Ewing sarcoma are in pediatric patients. So you avoid the growing joint that can be used in these patients with use of ECRT. Next is it is a low cost method. The radiation given is also not that great that it can cause again malignancy in that part. Next is avoiding the radiation injuries to the another parts because you are sending this bone to radiotherapy department. It's not that the whole patient is subjected to radiotherapy. The prerequisite is your center should have a radiation machine or a nearby area where this bone can be sent. So you can have a lag time because the surgical time is around 2 to 3 hours for tumor resection. Then the preparation is half an hour. The radiation time is half an hour. So your transportation time is more. If you are sending the bone to another center, it will increase the risk of infection. So that should be taken into the point. So next we'll be seeing a second case that is tumor involving the calcaneum. So calcaneal tumors are quite uncommon. So here it was a mesenchymal chondrosarcoma and limb salvage surgeries are rarely performed in these tumors. So this was a good case for limb salvage because it responded very well to chemotherapy. And here we used 3D printing for this case. So medial skin incision was given. So small video how the skin flaps are raised. So this is how the skin flaps are raised and the neurovascular bundle are isolated. This is the medial neurovascular bundle that was isolated. Next is we have to plan the osteotomy cuts. So here a posterior osteotomy was performed just at the insertion of tendo Achilles. A superior cut was performed and a anterior cut was performed. So all this planning was performed with 3D printed model. So next is this is the resected specimen. This is the neurovascular bundle after resection, and this is the remaining calcaneal tuberosity. And this is the 3D printed model. So advantage of this is you can plan all the surgical steps beforehand, before the surgery. So we are using these 3D printed models in our cases nowadays. And it gets exactly size match as per the resection was planned. And again, the bone is sent to radiotherapy department. What the steps we have seen in the previous case. And the bone is brought back again. We made a trowel, and these are the parts. This is the upper resected part, the anterior part, and the posterior part. Then we made trowel into the bone so that we can put vascularized fibula in this trowel. So Herbert screw were placed and suture anchors were placed to attach the calcaneal tuberosity to the bone. And this trowel, we put the vascularized fibula. We have to take the help of our plastic surgery colleague. So it's a vascularized fibula. Perineal vessels were isolated with skin pedal. And this is how the vascularized pedicle is taken. And we have to get anastomosis done with the posterior tibial vessels. So end to side anastomosis was performed. And this is how it looked finally. And this bone unites. So this is a second indication used in osteoarticular reconstruction. So here the bone is reconstructed for with the help of ECRT method. So what are the disadvantages of ECRT? The surgical time is a bit higher, so it increases the risk of infection. As it's a dead bone, it has to get own vascularity. So until that, it's a dead bone. Next, risk of secondary malignancy because it is treated with radiation. Very small chances that you can get secondary malignancy. And relatively increase in the operating time, total operating time is higher. So next we'll be seeing an example of a 14 years boy, Ewing sarcoma of radius. So it was Ewing sarcoma. And we had treatment option of resecting this bone and putting back again with the help of ECRT. So this is the osteoarticular reconstruction. This is how the bone is resected. The posterior interosseous now you have to cut and the patient will have wrist drop after the surgery. And you have to Here we can see the tumor is very well defined after chemotherapy, and the tumor is resected with good margins. So we don't have to see the tumor. It's covered totally by the soft tissues. This is how the soft tissues are removed. So make again the bone bare of the soft tissue. So all the soft tissue is removed. So all this procedure is performed on a different trolley. Next is package the vancomycin soap mop. Again, give wash with pulse lavage. Send it to radiotherapy department. 50 grays, 30 minutes, and the bone is brought back again. So we can reconstruct the annular ligament. So here we had used semitendinosus and the gracilis tendon to reconstruct the annular ligament. And this is how the biceps tendon is attached, because you are cutting the biceps tendon from the radial tuberosity. So you have to attach it back again. And this was the post-operative radiograph of the patient. Every case has its own limitations or complications. So in this case, there was skin flap necrosis, and we have to anticipate the complications in these cases. So because the incision is big, the vascularity was less, and we had to get a free flap for this case. So a free anterolateral thigh flap was performed, and it united very well. So here we can see the skin incision, the flap, and the bone united, and this is the 2 years follow-up of this patient. You can see his function. So he's having excellent elbow function, full pronation, full supination, and this kid has given his 10th standard exam with this right hand. So he's a right hand dominant person. So advantage of this procedure, full function of the hand. He's having wrist drop. Here we can see he's having fingers drop, but he's able to write very nicely. So full elbow function, full pronation supination with wrist drop. In future, we can do tendon transfer for this case. And here we can see his writing function. So advantage of ECRT here, we have reconstructed the radius back again at its original position, giving full function of the elbow joint. Next, we'll be seeing another case of scapula. So scapular tumors also bit uncommon. So it was here chondrosarcoma of scapula in a 35 years female. So we have treatment option that we can resect the scapula, just don't reconstruct it. So that is one option. Reconstruct the proximal humerus with the clavicle with the help of a mesh. We can use scapular prosthesis, again a costly option. You can get a 3D printed model and 3D printed implant of the scapula, or you can use ECRT, that is extracorporeal radiotherapy. So in this case, it was ECRT, extracorporeal radiotherapy was used. So this is the skin incision, and here we can see the biopsy scar is included into the surgical area. So it's a posterior incision, all flaps raised. Tumor is resected with good margins, and we are unable to see where the tumor is. So that is the significance of oncological resection. You have to remove the tumor en bloc with good wide margins. The soft tissue is removed. So this is the resected specimen, and we will be removing all the soft tissues. So this is the glenoid, acromion, coracoid process, and the angle of the scapula, the spine of the scapula. This is how the soft tissue is removed. So we have to remove all the soft tissue. With the help of curette, remove all the soft tissue. It decreases the chances of infection in these cases. So you use pulse lavage, wash, to remove all the soft tissue. Use a vancomycin antibiotic. It decreases the chances of infection. And use these vancomycin soaked mops. So this is how in sterile environment, this is sent to radiotherapy department. Take multiple layers. You have to pack it in multiple drapes so that it can be handled by the radiotherapy colleagues. You can send it to radiotherapy department. Again, 50 grays, 30 minutes duration. And this is how the scapula looks after radiation. So here we had used mesh to fix the scapula with the humerus. So it's a polypropylene mesh. A sleeve is prepared so that you can attach the glenoid to the scapula. So this is the Prolene mesh that is used, or you can use a Vicryl mesh or a partially absorbable mesh that is also available. It makes multiple holes into the glenoid and the humerus and attach the mesh. So this is how the mesh is attached to humerus. And put the scapular part inside, fix it with the help of mesh. Here Ethibond can be used or fiber wire and fiber tape can be used. So this is how the radiation bone is put back again at its original site. And here you have to use the latissimus dorsi flap, LD flap, to cover this bone. And this is how the mesh is fixed with the polypropylene mesh. So the advantage is the patient will have some shoulder movement, because if we don't use anything, the patient is having very limited shoulder movement. So advantage of ECRT here again, patient will have good shoulder movement. So this is how multiple holes are made into the scapula, and this ECRT treated autologous bone is fixed back again. So this was the post-operative radiograph. On the left side, it's immediate post-op. On the right side, it's long-term follow-up of this patient. And this bone gets reabsorbed because it is getting less blood supply. It's totally dead bone. But still the glenoid will be preserved and patient is having good range of movement at the shoulder joint. And next will be the last case of ECRT, and we will be seeing the alternatives of this procedure. So next is a 12 years boy having tumor of the proximal tibia. So we'll be seeing all the locations. We have seen scapula, we have seen radius, humerus, and we have seen distal femur. So it's now turn of tibia. So it's tumor involving the tibia, which was resected. So this is the medial skin incision. And here we can see the neurovascular bundle that is separated. And the tumor is very well covered with the soft tissue margins. This is the tumor bone, which was treated with ECRT and brought back again. So we fixed it with the help of a plate. Use TFL. So we had used TFL, tensor fascial lata, to reconstruct the medial and lateral collateral ligaments for this case. And the suture anchors were used to connect the medial and lateral collateral ligaments. An anterior cruciate ligament reconstruction was done for this case. ACL. So we didn't reconstruct PCL. ACL, medial collateral, and lateral collateral were reconstructed. And this is how the ACL reconstruction was performed for this patient. These are the steps of ACL reconstruction. So semitendinosus and gracilis tendons are used. So suture anchors, a disc was used, and a bioabsorbable screw was used. So this is the post-operative radiograph. On the left side, it's an immediate post-op radiograph, and on the right side, it's a follow-up radiograph. And this was the function of the patient at follow-up. So next is we have seen ECRT, that is extracorporeal radiotherapy. Then we have alternative of liquid nitrogen. So the centers where radiation is not possible and you don't have a radiation facility. So liquid nitrogen is a good alternative for this. And this is how liquid nitrogen treatment is done. So July was a sarcoma awareness month. So these are the steps of using liquid nitrogen. So here we have used a 3D model and a jig. So that is a newer method which we are using. So diaphyseal defect involving the femur. This is a small animation. So the diaphyseal bone is resected. And you can treat it with ECRT or liquid nitrogen. So you have both the treatment options. ECRT is at -50. ECRT is at 50 degrees, 30 minutes. And liquid nitrogen is available at -180 degrees. The contact time is around 20 minutes. So the thawing of the bone is done. Fix it with a plate and screws. So this is the case example. A young patient, skeletally immature, osteosarcoma, treated with neoadjuvant chemotherapy. It responded very well to chemotherapy. And this is the MRI, and the tumor is just near the physis. Here we used a customized jig for cutting the bone. So this was the MRI post chemotherapy. And this is the jig that is used for these cases now. So you can have option of jigs or you can have a computer navigation system. So computer navigation system is available at very less centers. So this is very good option using a 3D printed model of the femur and a customized jig. So here we use a customized jig to cut the bone distally and the proximally so that we can just go close to the joint and save the patient's own knee joint. So the advantage of this jig is you can save patient's own knee joint. So these are all the steps which are performed intraoperatively. Fix the jig distally with the help of key wires. Fix it proximally. Then with the help of a bone saw, cut the bone. So all steps can be performed intraoperatively and get exact size match bone of the patient. So this is how the bone is preserved. So liquid nitrogen is at minus 180 degrees. Use a sterile steel container. Put the tumor bone into this. The contact time is 20 minutes. Then 15 minutes thawing and 15 minutes to put in normal cell. And this is how the bone looks after liquid nitrogen. So disadvantages, there are chances of breakage of this bone. Fracture can happen in this bone. And here we had used 2 plates, one lateral, one anterior, and again a distal plate. So total 3 plates were used for this case. So this is an alternative for ECRT, that is extracorporeal radiotherapy, is use of liquid nitrogen. So what are the limitations of ECRT? It's not suitable in weak bone. So if the bone is weak, with the help, also if the patient is having pathological fracture, again this method can be used. You can use vascularized fibula or a non-vascularized fibula, or you can use non-biologic method like a nail cement spacer or a plate cement spacer. What we discussed in before the starting slides, that can be used. But in weak bone, you can't use any biological method, neither ECRT, neither liquid nitrogen, neither autoclaving or pasteurization. So it's not suitable for weak bone. It's not suitable in case of pathological fracture. And its limitation is the center should have a radiation machine or a nearby radiation machine should be available near your hospital. The complications are any of these cases. These are cases where the patient is immunocompromised because of chemotherapy. So high chances of infection, fracture, because this bone is radiation treated. It's a dead bone. So high chances of fracture, delay in union. So if the union average time is 6 to 9 months for metaphyseal diphyseal part, and diphyseal part is around 9 to 12 months time. If it doesn't unite, you have to put bone graft in these cases. So delay in union. Again, the contributing factor is chemotherapy. So all these patients are treated with chemotherapy, that is adjuvant chemotherapy. So it also inhibits union. Avascular necrosis, this bone may collapse. Resorption of the graft. So if you are using in its scapula, where it will be having no blood supply, so very high chances that there can be resorption of the graft. But all these are the complications of any biological method. If you use liquid nitrogen, autoclave, or pasteurization, there are similar complications, and the bone strength is a bit higher in ECRT as compared to the other methods. In autoclaving or pasteurization, the bone becomes very soft, very high chances of breakage and failure in autoclaving or pasteurization. So ECRT is having advantages over these two procedures. So the take-home message from today's session is ECRT is extracorporeal radiotherapy. So what is meaning of this? Extracorporeal, situated outside body. The tumor-bearing bone segment is resected, treated with single fraction of radiation. That is 50 grays radiation for 30 minutes extracorporeally, and it's re-implanted. So the bone is re-implanted back its original site. Limb preservation is done with anatomical and functional mobility. So you can get a sized match perfect bone, which is resected, putting back it again at its original site. That is not possible with allograft. You can match the bone with allograft, but it will be not perfect as compared with the using the patient's own bone. Next, it eliminates requirement of allograft, decreases the risk of infection, rejection of the allograft, viral transmission. Less technical expertise required because vascularized graft, you require help of a plastic surgeon, and the learning curve is higher. The orthopedic surgeon is doing these cases using a vascularized graft. So at our center, we are taking help of our plastic surgery colleagues if we are doing a vascular anastomosis in these cases. So if you are using ECRT, you don't require the help of a vascular surgeon to harvest a vascularized graft or a vascularized fibula. It's low cost as compared to the tumor process because tumor processes are quite costly implants. So you avoid that. So the reference is the paper which we published in January 2019. It was published in Journal of Orthopedic Surgery, Asia Pacific. And we had shared our experience of ECRT in that study. So we compared ECRT with fibula in that study. So this is the center where I work. And it's always a team effort. You require help of a medical oncologist, radiation oncologist, and a surgeon. So it's always a team effort treating any bone tumor cases. And if you have any query, just you can email me or mail Dr. Sir so that we can solve your queries. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Abhijit, for that brilliant presentation, and congratulations for your excellent publications.
Thank you, sir.
Abhijit, couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
Now, see, we know that the bone that is taken out,
yes,
you have removed all soft tissues and we have irradiated.
Yes, sir.
And you have mentioned the possibility of a dead bone. So have you had a case where the segment, the intercalary segment, is completely necrosed?
Yes, sir. We have few cases where it was completely necrosed. So next time I'll share a case, humorous case was there, a kid was there, 8 years boy. So the whole segment got resolved. So we tried use father's fibula to reconstruct that defect. So it has united distally, but still there is no union proximally. So again, we have to operate that case. So we'll share that follow-up because it's a case where it was completely reabsorbed. In scapula, because it will not have blood supply, so partial scapula will get reabsorbed. But in humerus also, it got reabsorbed. So there are cases, we have cases of fractures also. The bone broke. We have non-union and the bone reabsorption. So these are most common three complications. Infection is bit less common, but these are three common complications. Non-union, most commonly at the diaphyseal location. It takes around 12 months you have to protect the bone. And if it doesn't unite, put bone graft because the patient is on chemotherapy. So high chances of non-union.
Thank you, Abhijit, for that. And how is the availability of allograft? Like fresh
so allograft in India, we have only 2 to 3 centers. So one bone bank is available at Tata Memorial Hospital and one is in South, so at Bangalore. So only 2 standardized bone banks are available in India. So it's very limited availability of allograft. And our culture is not that great that we donate the bone. So similar problems occur in all Asian countries. So in Japan also they have this problem. So they are using liquid nitrogen there. So Japanese people are using more, they are more fan of liquid nitrogen. They are the proponents of liquid nitrogen. So we have started using liquid nitrogen for last 4 to 5 years. So just we judge the case where which is better. So head-on trial, there are very less trials where they are compared ECRT with liquid nitrogen. So we are trying to get our data that which is better or which is more effective. So liquid nitrogen, if a center is having no ECRT or nearby 50 kilometers, you don't have a radiation center. Liquid nitrogen will be a very good treatment option. But the bone should be strong enough. And again, liquid nitrogen, there are complications. So we had complications that the bone just shattered. You put in liquid nitrogen, it shattered completely because liquid nitrogen is minus 180 degrees and we still made multiple holes into the bone, but still it shattered. So allograft in all Asian countries, in Europe also it's very limited availability. In the US, they are using more of allograft and liquid nitrogen. But in our Asian setup, ECRT or liquid nitrogen is very good treatment option. Allograft very limited availability because 2 only bone banks are there.
Thank you, Abhijit, for that. And what about the use of autoclave graft? Because that is one
autoclave
thing.
Also, sir, previously it was used. We tried in few cases, 1 or 2, but the bone becomes very soft. So it's not that great method. The bone becomes very soft because it denatures the protein. So the pasteurization and autoclaving, the protein just goes away. And the bone becomes so soft that it collapses very high chances. So it's not that great method used all over the world now. So liquid nitrogen or ECRT, these are 2 treatment options if you are using patient's own bone. Alternative is allograft. and there is diaphyseal processes are available. So if you're using the diaphyseal part, again, disadvantages, you should have a good segment where you can put the prosthesis, because here in all cases which we saw today, the distally only 2 to 3 centimeter segment is there. You can't put the diaphyseal prosthesis. You have to replace the bone, knee joint also of the patient. So that is disadvantage, and cost is their issue there.
And when you have an extension into the epiphysis,
Yes, sir.
do you think suppose you go ahead with the ECRT, do you think that there is a risk of a complete chondral damage?
Yes, sir, the bone can get collapsed. So it can be a time buying option. So what we showed in a 12 years boy. So it is a time buying option that the bone may collapse in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years time. And the child will of that age will be 16 years or 17 years. At that age, you can use a normal prosthesis for it, normal mega prosthesis. Or you can use a prosthetic composite. So just the upper part is collapsed, replace the lower part. So that is the advantage. Otherwise, for a 12 years boy, you have to use a growing prosthesis. Again, it's a costly option. Indian implant is 7 to 8 lakh rupees, Indian mega prosthesis, expandable. And the foreign implant is costing 15 to 20 lakh rupees. So again, very costly affair. So it can be a time buying option, using the patient own bone in skeletally immature, involving the epiphysis. Means you are using for distal femur, proximal femur, or proximal tibia. So it can be good time buying option. For 3-4 years, the child grows to maturity, and you can replace it with a normal prosthesis, normal mega prosthesis, or normal prosthesis. You can use a hinge joint, because you don't have collaterals or that thing. So hinge joint can be used in these cases.
Thank you, Abhijit. Just one last question before we wind up the session. Is there any particular sarcoma which cannot be treated with an ECRT? For example, a contraindication, any kind of sarcoma?
No, sir. We thought previously that chondrosarcoma is not that radiosensitive tumor. So there was thinking that chondrosarcomas are not radiosensitive. EVs are, osteo are bit, but here the dose is very high. It's 50 grays. So it can kill any type of tumor. So the type of tumor is not a contraindication. The bone quality is contraindication. The bone quality is weak, osteolytic lesion, or a pathological fracture. So we can say that is a contraindication for any biological method, ECRT or liquid nitrogen or autoclave pasteurization. So that is the only contraindication.
Thank you, Abhijit. Abhijit, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Abhijit, I think that's all the questions that we have for this session.
Yes,
fantastic talk, and I'm sure this is going to benefit a lot of people all over the world. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, sir.